Hey guys, welcome to this tutorial. My name's ThaTimster. Today I'm going to be showing you how to make enemy AI in the Blender game engine. So this topic has been highly requested, and after doing the animal AI tutorial quite a while ago, you all seem to enjoy that, so I thought why not do the enemy AI as well. So this sort of AI is for modern first-person shooter games, so the enemies will have guns which they can shoot you with. So before making the enemy AI, I've gone and set out the states I want the enemies to have. So right here I have idle, alert, taking cover, attacking, and close combat, as well as death. So the first one, idle, is just walking, in a normal circle around the map. Possibly if they're, surveying the area or guarding it. So yep, just constantly doing that. And the second one, alert. So they're obviously alert, they've heard something, and they're looking for what it is. So they'll be, moving slowly around, very cautious, and watching for what's happening. The third one, taking cover, is basically when our enemy, say, runs out of bullets, or possibly takes a bit of damage or something, they'll go and run to the nearest cover and hide behind it. Then they can possibly just reload or hide until they decide to start attacking again, which links into the next state, which is attacking. And this basically happens when they've seen you fully, you are a threat to them, so they'll go and run and attack you. Basically when they're in an open space by themselves, they have no cover to run to, they'll just run at you or the player, as they really don't have much else to do. However, if there is cover near, then they will run to that cover and stay behind that, and then attack from behind the cover. So after that we have the next state called close combat, and this is basically when your player runs really close to the enemy and close enough for them to hit you with their gun. This will obviously do a lot more damage, although it doesn't have to be hit by the gun, it could just be a knife or something. And then the last one here is fairly straightforward, it's just the death state, so when the enemy has 0 health left and they die, then they'll obviously fall over. A death timer will run, which basically just counts how long till it needs to make the body disappear, and that is about it. So in the description will be a link to a blend file, and in this blend file I've just quickly gone and put together a character which I've called test enemy, and then I've gone and rigged him as well, so enemy rig, so we'll be able to animate him easily. And then also I've added a small gun here. Again, I've just put this together in a couple minutes or something, but it's just so we all have a good starting block. So the first thing to do with enemies So as with all enemy AI, all the states consist of one main thing, and that is animations. So that's going to be the first thing we're going to be doing today. So up here I'm going to go to game logic, change this to texture view, and then I'm going to make my window a lot bigger here because I'm going to be just animating at the moment and I don't need the text editor. If you really want to, you can get rid of this outliner window as well, basically by joining them together like so. Then down here selecting 3D, and of course we have to go back to textured mode. I'm going to get my gun here, and just selecting it, right click, and I'm going to press RZ90. This is facing towards the player, so we want it facing away, so RZ180, like so. Press enter, and then we'll move it up here, and then we'll press numpad 1, and then numpad 3 to go into side view. Then we're going to move it up somewhere around chest level, like so, and then I'm going to press S, as this is a little big for the enemy. Then I'm going to click, and we'll place it somewhere like that. Now our enemy, for example, might be right-handed, so I'm going to move it over here just a little, and then I'll move it forward a bit as well. Now we'll select our enemy, or the rig inside him, which you can easily do by pressing Z to go into wireframe, and just selecting the bones like so. Then down here go to pose mode so we can animate them, and we'll bring this window up here, and then just to help us, under the bone window I think it is, nope, it's under this person, we'll scroll down and we'll select X-ray. So now if we go into texture view, we can see all the bones and we can animate them. So we'll bring this window down again, and now what we want to do is we want to grab his arm right here, press RZ, rotate it, bring it over here a bit. Doesn't need to be the full way, although I guess you could if you wanted to. Maybe just something like that. Something like that. Then the next one, RZ, and rotate it a bit more, and that should be relatively good. Then I'm going to select the upper arm again and then press RY, rotate it down, and maybe we should go the full way like so, and then I'll press RX and we'll have it holding onto the trigger here. So next we'll select his sort of hand block here and press RZ, so it's sort of properly holding on like so, and then we'll actually select his upper arm or lower arm and then press RY, and we'll just rotate it a bit so it works nicely. Okay, so now it should be looking something like that, like he's holding the trigger. If you want to, again, you can go out of pose mode into object mode, select the gun and move it forward a bit so he's actually holding it properly. Okay, like so. Then I'm going to go back into the rig, so select it and then go to pose mode, and now I'm going to do this arm here, so RZ to rotate on the Z axis, and we want to bring his arm across, so maybe even more, like so. Then his lower arm, move that across as well, and that's going to be holding on to the magazine in the front here, so I'm going to select my upper arm here, press RX, and rotate it down, like so. And this isn't quite reaching, so I'm going to again go into object mode, select my gun, move it across a bit more, like so. And then I'll select the rig again, go into pose mode, and there we go, now he's holding on to it. So I can quickly tweak my arms right here, so maybe I'll spin this one off a bit more, then select the lower arm, RZ, and we'll just get it something like that. Then this hand here, I'm going to press RZ again, like so, and then we'll select the lower arm and push it inwards. So there we go, something like that is looking good. We can go into object mode, press A to deselect, and that is the default pose for our character. Again, if you wanted to, you could bring the gun even closer, so our character doesn't really have to stretch for it, so maybe that's a good idea. But then you have to select the rig again, go to pose mode, and we're going to have to move everything around again. So I'm going to select the upper arm, press RZ, move it out a bit, select the lower arm and move it in a bit, like so, and there we go. I think something like that is good. So now we can go into object mode, move this window up a bit, make a new window down the bottom here, drag upwards, basically you just go in the corner till you see the crosshair, and then drag upwards, and we'll make this window bigger, then we'll select timeline down here, and it doesn't need to be that big, so something like that. Then we'll go to frame 0, and now we want his sort of walking animation while holding a gun. So at frame 0, down here we're going to go and select location and rotation, and then we're going to select the record button. So then anything we move now gets location and rotation keyframes applied to it. Because he is idle, I don't know, he could be holding his gun just like that, but possibly if he's idle he isn't walking around with the gun pointing forwards, maybe it's pointing to the side a little bit, like so. So I'll just quickly tweak the rig, so back into pose mode with it selected, and I'll just press RZ, and tweak this round a bit more, and we'll do the same for the forearm, so RZ, and then RZ, drag it back in, and I think something like that should be fine. So he's just sort of holding it off to the side, not really expecting much to happen, so just walking with the gun in front of him. So as you see, as we have twisted all of those, you'll notice there is a keyframe that has been put in the bottom corner. So this will happen every time we move a bone, but will only happen if we move the bone. If we don't move the bone, then it won't put a keyframe in, and then the bone animations won't exactly be synchronized. So to make sure we have a keyframe for everything, in this window here, I'm going to press A twice, once to select everything, and then once to deselect everything. Then I'm going to press A again, so we have everything selected, and then I'm going to press I to insert a keyframe. As you can see, up the top here, 98 keyframes for location and rotation. Now, trust me, that isn't a lot. there can be a lot more if your rigs are complicated. Basically what it's done is it's put 3 in for the location X, Y, and Z, and 3 in for the rotation X, Y, and Z. So for every bone it's put in 6. So I'm going to press numpad 3 to go into side view, and I'm going to start doing my walking animation. So to make the animating process a lot less painful and a lot easier, I'm going to press T, or you can just bring up this toolbar, go to options, making sure you're in reg view with something selected, and then click auto IK. So what that does is if we select this bone here, for example, it will move the other bones connected to it as well. It's a lot easier than just rotating each one individually. So I'm going to select this middle one right here first, and I'm going to press G, which you can once you've selected auto IK, and as you can see it's bending backwards, so I'm going to press R to rotate, bend it this way a bit. Now if I press G, I can rotate it the right way like so. So my first step is going to be out here. By the time he has moved his foot up, his back one will have moved backwards a bit, so I'm going to move that back like so. There will be a flaw there though, so this foot should be rotated up like that. Then I'm going to drag this back just a little bit more, so maybe something like that, and then that should be good. So he's moving like that, maybe a bit more for the back foot, so numpad 3, and move it along like so. So maybe something like that is good. Then I'm going to go along to frame 40, and then basically what I'm going to do is this foot is going to hit the ground. So we'll select the middle leg, press G, and we'll make that hit the ground, so maybe somewhere around there, pretending this line here is the ground. And then by this time this foot will have been up maybe around there. Then we'll go along to frame 60, then this foot will be back a bit, somewhere like that, and we'll have to rotate his foot properly and move it down a bit if we can, like so. And then this front foot will be back and ready to take another step. So maybe something like that. Maybe we'll move this one back a bit more, so it looks a bit more even. So I'm just going to maybe move it up like that, ready to take another step. And then I'm going to move along to frame 80 down here, and this time he's going to take a step with the second foot, so something down there, and we'll rotate the foot like so. So you can hold down shift if you only want to move it in small increments, and maybe like that, something like that. Meanwhile the back foot, we'll press G, and by then that will have moved up like that, so it will be ready to take another step. Then I'm also going to move it this way a bit slightly, and I'll move this foot in a bit more. Okay, something like that. Then I'll go to frame 100, select this middle leg and move it in a bit more, like so. Select this other one, and we'll move it this way a bit, but not too much, so maybe something like that. And now what we want to do, once we have all those in place, is we want to get a similar motion from where he started. So they've gone from here, his sort of back foot's gone up, and then come down again, and then it's gone across, and basically what we want is the same as frame 20 to happen next. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is we want to copy the keyframes from frame 20 and copy them all the way over to frame 120. So how we're going to do that is go to frame 20 on this end, then we're going to make a new window over here. We're going to select Graph Editor, and we're going to make the window here a lot bigger as well. Then we're going to press A to deselect everything, this is important, and then press A again to select everything. Now that makes sure all the bones keyframes get copied, not just from one leg. Then we'll move over into the Graph Editor, press A to deselect everything, and then we'll press Ctrl K. So select all the keyframes on frame 20, and then we'll press Shift D to duplicate, and then GX 100. And that is exactly 100 from 20 is 120. So if we move along now, our character walks like so. And that will be seamless then, because then it'll start back at 20 and keep going. Realize we didn't actually need frame 0, so we can go to frame 0 like that, go to our tools, and we can remove the keyframes there. So now we'll go back into object mode. However, I am going to do one more thing, and that is to add some finishing touches to the rigs animation. So I'm going to go back into pose mode, and on frame 20 I'm just going to slightly move his arms so it looks, I don't know, a bit nicer than just having moving legs. So maybe we'll move him this way a bit, like so, and do the same for this side. So just slightly like that, and that will have added in animations there. Then we'll go along, just put down his other foot, so around frame 80, and then we'll move them back like so, some more this way, and then back at frame 120, what we can actually do is hold down shift, select both shoulders that we're moving, go to frame 20, press A to deselect, and then control K and shift D GX 100. That will copy it to frame 120, so now he's doing a sort of shoulder shrugging while he's walking, which is pretty cool. So now it's looking a bit better than just normal feet walking. So there we go, we have his walking animations like so. Okay, so we've done the idle walking right now, so I'm going to press space and do an X to sort of cross it off the list because we're done. Next one is alert, so he's looking around the map and he's aware of what's happening. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go to frame 130, that's where it's going to start. Basically when he's alert, I don't think he's going to be moving around very fast. So at frame 130 I'm going to reposition him, so with the rig selected, back into pose mode, and we're going to rotate him a bit more, like so. Just back to starting, and then I may as well just press G, so something like that. So he's just holding the gun like that, and then if he is aware, so first of all what we might do is have him spread his legs out a bit, because he's not sure what's going on. So we'll move one leg over here, like so, and we'll move that foot down, pretending this line here is the ground. So something like that. Rotate it down. So actually I might just bring his legs in a bit like so. So he's, not really sure what's happening, but they're slightly bent. So he's just standing still, alert, what's happening. And for the alert animation to sort of show that he's alert, what we might do is actually animate his top half more than anything. So press numpad 3, and we'll select his head to start off with. At frame 130 it starts there, then at frame possibly 150 you can look over that way. Then the next thing I'm going to do is along here go to maybe frame 180 just to give him a little bit more time, and he's going to look over here just to see what's going on there. And I might need to turn that maybe not so far, so something like that, otherwise it looks like he's broken his own neck. At frame 130 though, we haven't put in a keyframe. See, at 150 we put in that one, but at frame 130 it doesn't have one at all. So at frame 130 we want him facing forward, like so. So he's looking forward like that, and then at frame 150 he'll look over there, at frame 180 he'll look away, and then at frame 200 we want him looking forward again. So back to frame 130, A to deselect in this window, control K, and then shift D, GX 70, and then press enter, and that will make a new keyframe on frame 200. So basically now here at 130 he'll look this way, then look this way, and then he'll just keep repeating that when he's alert. And so to add some more realism, I'm going to give his arm some movement again. So on frame 130, the starting one, what we want to do is select both of the upper arms, and then press I to insert a keyframe, and then we're going to go along to frame 150 when he's looking over here and press RZ, and that will rotate on the Z axis, and that will make him look over there. So what we're going to have to do later is separately animate the gun as well. So he's going to be looking away over here, maybe something like that. Then at frame 180, looking over there, so we'll move his arms over there like so. So he's pointing the gun wherever he's looking because he's not sure what's happening. Okay, and then 200, we want the same as 130, so frame 130, press A to deselect in the graph editor window, press Ctrl K, to select the one keyframe, and then press Shift D, GX70 again, and then press enter. So now if we scroll along, you see it looks over both sides, and then obviously that animation will keep looping. If that is a bit fast for you, I mean that swiveling is a bit crazy. So to give the animation more time, what I'm going to do is press A to select everything, then in here press A to deselect, and then just Control K to select the one keyframe, and then I'm just going to press G, X, and we want to move it to 230, so just 30, so adds on 30 for that last one. Then this one here we might want to move up 20, so A to deselect, then just to select this one, Control K, and then G, X, and we'll just move it 20, so just 20, and then enter, and then 150, A to deselect, and then Control K just to select this one, and then GX, and this one we might only put up 10, so we'll put GX 10, and then press enter. And so now if we go to frame 130, press play, he looks over the side like that. So I think that is a bit better. So now we can go back into object mode. Now if we look at our list, that's pretty much the alert animation done. Moving around in a circle, you could have that if you wanted to. You'd obviously have a walking animation as well. I think I might just make my character stand still though to indicate he has seen something. So now we've done the alert animation. If you wanted to, you could do a walking animation or crouching animation of him walking around slowly, but I thought I'd just have him stay still so it's a bit more obvious that he is alert. So I'll add an X to that to say I'm done. The next one is taking cover. So I'm going to go back into Blender, press Shift S, cursor to center, Shift A, and add a cube. Move it over here. And this is going to be our obstacle for our enemy to hide behind. So I'm going to press 3, and I'm going to move it down to the ground level, which is approximately there. So if you've noticed, just by moving that round, our location rotation has automatically added keyframes to it. So we don't want that. We'll turn off record just for now, and then we'll go down here to animation and click remove keyframes. So hopefully, we'll have to select our cube and click remove keyframes like that. So they're gone now. Basically what we want is our character, wherever he is, we want him to sprint or run really fast, and we want him to do that towards our obstacle, and then when he does get to the obstacle, or when he hits a property, then he'll duck down behind the obstacle. So obviously he isn't going to be standing beside it like this the whole time, he might actually be a decent amount away from it. So to do that, I'm going to first add a running animation. So down here, as you can see, we've sort of run out of space, so to give us some more, I'm going to end it at 500. So we have a lot more space to add more animations in. So here I'm going to start the animation at possibly 235, just to squish them all together a bit more. So I'm going to press numpad 3, and then we're going to get started on the running animation. So with the rig selected, go into pose mode, press A to deselect, and we're going to get started doing all this again. So auto OK, make sure that's going. And this is going to be the running animation. So from just walking around quietly or from being alert, it's going to be him running to cover. I might start that animation off like so. I'm going to move this one back a bit more, like that. Maybe even just rotating it like that could be good. And I'm going to move this leg forward a bit more like so. And then I'm going to move this leg forward, possibly something like that. And then this one might need to come back a bit more. Then we can turn record on again, and then press A to deselect, A to select everything, and then press I, and it will insert the keyframes for it. Because this is relatively fast, we could be doing gaps of 10, although, yeah, that probably is a good idea because it is a fairly fast animation. So at frame 245, which is 10 after it, we're going to have this foot come up and be somewhere like that, and this one will have covered a lot of distance, so he might be all the way over here. I'll just rotate it, move it down, so it's somewhere like that. Then we'll move it 10 more, 255, select this one here, GY, move it across, move it down like that, ready to take another step. At the same time, this one here is just leaving the ground, like so. So if you do look at people running, they are actually off the ground completely, both legs, for a very short amount of time. And then next thing, 265, this foot will come down, possibly covered some distance or just touch down like we did at the starting one, so something like that. And this one will be coming along ready for the next step. Then down to 275. Now this foot will be all the way back here. And now if we go back to 235, that could actually be starting point again. So on 235, I'm going to press A to deselect. Then in this window, A to deselect as well. And then A to select all the bones at once. Then on here, if we scroll in, A to deselect, and making sure you're on 235, in this window we'll press Control K. That'll select the keyframes on 235, and then we'll press Shift D, and we want to move it to 275. So GX40, then we'll press Enter, and now that should have a new keyframe at the start here. But if you run along it, you notice he takes his first step, takes his second, and the third one isn't working out so well. It seems to just sort of kick the ground to get the last foot in. So to fix that, we'll go to 270, and we'll just realign his foot like it's meant to be. So like that, possibly. Or maybe we can move it back a bit like so. Okay, and so now if we drag along again, takes his first step, takes his second, and then brings his foot down. Again, if you want to, you can have running animations for the arms as well. So I'm going to go to 235. So I'm going to select both of them, and we'll press I to insert a location, because we want them to start off from where they are. Then at 245, they'll be in full swing. So they'll get pushed this way a bit, and that should have inserted some keyframes for us. Then 255, they might just realign back to the middle a bit more. And then 265, they'll move over this way a fair bit, because the foot has made contact with the ground again. And then we should probably miss out 270, but 275 we want the same to be as 235, so it's seamless. So to do that, we already have both arms selected. We don't need to select everything because it's just for the two arms. So I'm going to press A to deselect in this window, and then making sure you're on frame 235, Control K, and then Shift D and GX40 again to 275. Making sure you press Enter, otherwise it just stays stuck and you sort of get confused. So move along now. He moves his arms for each one. For 245, I don't know, it's not very much, so I'm going to press RZ and move it just a bit more like that. So maybe for 265 it is a bit much, so move it back around like so. And there we go, just so it's a bit more subtle. So now we have his running animation for running to cover. Now what we need is his hiding behind cover. So I'm going to bring this cube in a bit more, pretending that his feet have just sort of hit it, like that. And this might start at 280. That might be a good spot. And then I'm going to press numpad 3 to go into side view so we can see what we're doing. Then I'll press A to deselect everything, and then A to select it all. And then I'll press I to insert a keyframe for everything. Basically, you do this every time you want a new cycle of animation to start, just so they don't get muddled up and then they cross over. Always at the start of a new one, make sure you add in all the keyframes. Then the next thing we're going to do is along here. This might be fairly fast as well, so we're going to do every 10 frames as well. He's going to move his leg like so. He's step down like that. And we'll just move them something like that. This leg will come in, and as you can see, it's bent in the wrong way, so we can click, press R to rotate it this way, just over the middle line, and now if we press G, it's the right way. He might, oh, no, this way, like so, and yeah, he might want to put his other foot down like that. At the same time though, he is going to be ducking down, so we're going to press B, and we're going to select everything, and we're going to move it down a bit. As you can see though, these bottom legs aren't moving, so we'll select those two as well. So we have everything selected. and numpad 3 again, then we'll press G, and he might duck down a bit like so. We'll just rotate it as well, like so, and something like that might be good. And on top of that, you can't exactly duck down into a box, so you might want to go side on. So I'm going to press RZ to rotate on the Z axis, and he might sort of rotate like this a bit before going down. So he's got to the box and he spins around like that. Okay, and then frame 300, just still with the top selected, we'll sort out the legs afterwards. I'm going to press RZ and rotate him even more, so he's almost aligned with the side here. At the same time, we also want him ducking down again, so GZ, and he's going to be moving down like so, possibly all the way. I'm going to select his hands here, move them down as well, so something like that, and then we're going to go along 310, and hopefully by now he is fully ducked down and undercover. So now what we'll do is select his whole top half again, including both legs down the bottom, then we'll press GZ, and now he's going to be fully out of sight like so. If you want to, you can rotate him even a bit more, and I'm going to bring down both of his hands. So we'll select one, hold down shift, select the other one, and then GZ, and move them down, so something like that. So now he is behind cover properly, but if you look, his legs sort of seem to crush underneath him. So we're going to give them proper animation, so starting at 280, that works fine. 290, we're going to have to start redoing them, so we'll move them up. Oh, so we can press G and just sort of sort them out, so something like that. Oh, if G isn't really working for you, you might need to manually just rotate them, and then just press G every now and then. So something like that maybe, and then that is rotated on a funny angle, so RX, and we'll move it in like this, so RZ. Yep, so something like that. Then this one over here, we'll have to do the same, so RY, and then this middle one, GZ, move it upwards, and it'll be over this side a bit more, and then it might be down a bit, and this would be facing forwards, like so. Same with this one. That should have inserted them all for this, so he's ducking down like that. What he might do actually, frame 300 actually has sorted it out quite nicely. If you were to duck down, you probably would scrunch up your legs like that. However, I am going to do them a bit more, so I'm going to select this one and I'm going to bring it over here. So this one I'm going to bring up somewhere around there. And just rotate them so they are similar, like so. So he's down like that, and then at frame 310 we want him down fully. However, I really don't think that is how it's meant to be. So we're going to press numpad 1 again, and we're going to try sort out the mess it's got itself into. So I think it's this leg here. We'll try this one. At the moment, yep, this one's the one, and it's twisted funny, so it needs to be twisted around this way, and we'll just sort of push it in under like the other one, and actually bring them both up so they're like that, and then we can select both lower halves and move them like so. Again, if that is too far on the ground, I guess we can select both of the bottom legs, press RY, and we can push them up like so. So something like that might work. Then RY again, just to give us a bit more leg room. And there we go. Now he's sort of ducking down properly with his knees bent. And so now if we go to 280, once he hits it, he goes down and he ducks behind the crate or whatever he has. As you can see, his head is a little exposed. If you're really worried about that, I don't know, you could make him look down a bit more or something like that. So now ideally what you'd do is you'd also animate the gun, and then when he is ducked down behind the crate like this, he could be, I don't know, reloading it or fiddling with his gun or doing something like that. However, today I just wanted to get all the main sort of animations for the character over and done with, and then we can do a bit more tweaking for animating the gun and stuff like that next lesson. So just for now, the taking cover is pretty much done. We've got sprinting to it, and we have him ducking behind the cover. So we can put a X on that. Now what we need is the attacking state, or the animations for that. As you can see, when in open run at player, we have a running animation already of him running, so he can be doing that when he runs after the player. And when near cover, stay. So he will stay by the cover, but he will get up and shoot. So maybe what we can do is, from frame 310, we can actually just run a reverse. So from once he gets to the block at 280, run down, duck behind it, reload, do whatever he does, then we'll just play the reverse of that. He'll get back up and he'll be facing you behind the obstacle. So that actually has already been sorted out as well, funnily enough. So from there we actually just pretty much can get him shooting as it is, and really would only be having the gun animations to do. So next one is close combat, so we will have to animate that. So basically to do that, we have our 280 frame, so him just basically standing like so. I'm going to copy that frame, so to 280, then I'm going to press A to select all the bones, then across here, in this window press A to deselect all the bones, then press Ctrl K to just select that one row of animation, then press Shift D to duplicate, and we want to move it possibly to 315. So we're going to move it 35, and then press enter. So now at frame 315, he's back up to where he started. Obviously we won't use between here, it's just to reset everything. And if you notice, we did select all the bones and we did move them all across. So again, it's sort of like a restarting animation pose. So then the next thing we're going to do is at frame 315, the next one we want, it will be fairly fast, so 325. And it's him just lifting his arm, ready to bring it down and hit the player attacking him. So to do that, we're going to press numpad 3. Then at 325, I'm going to select this and I'm going to move it up. So he's just bringing it up like so. Same with this one, so just G, and he's holding up his gun like so. Maybe this one a bit more, like that. So he's holding it up like that. So now if we scroll along our animation, you'll see he jumps up, and then he pushes up his arms, or sort of lifts up the gun that he's holding. And then actually what we can do is, if you notice, on frame 15, if we go from 325 to 315, it is pretty much the gun whacking animation. So all we have to do is really play it backwards. So we can just copy this keyframe here, and then paste it obviously sooner on this side. So I'm going to go to 315, A to select everything, or A to deselect, and then A to select everything. In this window, press A to deselect, and then I'm going to press Ctrl K. Then I'm going to press Shift D, and I'm going to press GX20. So to make the animation happen a little faster, what we can do is press GX-5, like so, and that will change it from 335 to 330, and so we'll lift it up and bring it down. If you want to, you could also, I guess, at 315 when it starts, he probably won't have his legs out, sort of like that, so maybe we'll quickly realign them. Like so, making sure you're on 315 while you're doing this. So maybe standing like that. Oh, and with the other one over here, just making sure you've rotated it this way, because if it goes this way just a bit, then it's going to start doing it backwards. So rotate it that way a bit. Oh, it's jumped out again, like so, and we'll just bring it somewhere like that. So maybe he'll have that sort of a stance when he is hitting you with his gun. As you notice, I think, yeah, he's moving his legs back, and it seems to be 330 that this is happening. So we'll go to frame 330, press numpad 3, and to fix this, we'll go to frame 315, and press A to deselect, A to select everything, and then in this window, A to deselect, and then Control K to select the one keyframe, and then Shift D, GX 15. And that will make a copy on 330, which is 15 frames ahead. So now our character brings it up and brings it down, and his feet stay in the same place the whole time. Okay, so that is the close combat done. So we can add an X to that. And now all we have left is the death. So that is just him falling over. So what I'm actually going to do is my player here, we might just start him off like so. This death animation might start at 335. I'm going to press numpad 3. And I'm actually going to move his legs in a bit so they're a bit more like that. So a bit more in the center. Maybe I'll move his feet as well slightly. Okay, so something like that. And now we just need a dying animation of him, falling over as if he has just died. So we don't need this cube anymore, so we can press X and delete. And we'll select our character here. Then I'm going to go along 5 frames. If you wanted to, you could add alternating sort of death animations. Maybe one for a headshot or one for just normal body. I'm going to do one for headshot as well. So at frame 340, obviously it's starting at 335. 5 frames after that, I'm going to do a head tilt backwards as if it's just been shot, like that. And obviously he's going to start falling already. His arms might start drooping a little, like so. Maybe even, yeah, not too much. It's only 5 frames, so we'll move it up like that. And his body might be tilting back a little bit as well. And then actually from 340, I'm going to go straight to 350, and I'm just going to have him start falling down. So his arms, first of all, they'll rotate down a bit, like so. I'm just pressing R to rotate them from this view. So they'll just start falling down like so. And our character now is possibly going to fall forwards, although you can make them fall backwards if you want. So I'm going to select his top half. So I'm going to select most of him, so I guess select all of him like so, and select the legs as well, and start to bring him down. So maybe something like that. Then we'll also select both his hands, like so, numpad 3, and we'll move them down like so. His arms though, they are out of place, so we'll move them back where they used to be. So something like that. Numpad 3, and I think that is actually meant to be the floor, so while we're here, we'll move his legs up again, so something like that, and he's, just falling down like so. Then 360, we'll give his arms, they've completely finished falling, and now it's just the rest of his body, so we'll select all his arms like so. We'll just select everything, and so then we'll move everything, and so he's just touching the floor like that. Then also what we have to do is realign both of the legs, so we might actually just move them, stick them in like that. And I might actually just have the character falling backwards at this point, so we'll go along to 370, another 10. So as you can see, he's just falling down backwards. If you want to, 350, we didn't exactly tweak them right, did we? And as I've noticed, I have done them a row above what they should be. 350, so 360 should actually be a bit further down, so I'm going to press A to select everything, and I'm going to move it down to it's at this sort of ground level. Then I'll select both legs, press R to rotate, and we'll just bring the legs and the feet down to ground level again. Okay, and now our character at this time might be falling down a bit more as well. So I'm going to press R to rotate him a bit more, and we'll just move him a bit like that. Okay, 370, he's going to be falling down even more. So making sure we have his bottom legs selected as well. And then I'm just going to press R to rotate, and we'll rotate him like so. Then again, we'll just select the bottom 2 legs, press R to rotate, and there we go, it's sort of just back to the start. Now what we need to do is select his middle body and move it down slightly along with his 2 arms. This isn't really good practice, they should sort of be moving at the same time, but the rig just being a bit funny at the moment. Then I'm also going to press R to rotate them so they're falling down like so. make sure you scroll along your timeline as you're going, because as you can see, from 360 through to 370, he's moved up another lot. So I'm going to select everything, and we're going to have to move him down like so. Now this is becoming messy, so we'll select both his legs here, press numpad 3, rotate them down like that, and select both of his hands if we can get them like that, numpad 3, and we'll move them down as well. Now his arms should be connected up the top here still, but the rig is acting a little funny. So we have him just falling down like that, and 380, our legs are in the wrong place again, so we'll move them back down where they should be. And then select his lower legs and rotate them down like so. So now our player just falls down like that. Frame 380, he should have sort of fully fallen down, so we'll select his main body and his head, and we'll just sort of do them like so. Then we'll select his arms, and we'll move them where they should be. So something like that. Then I'm also going to select his hands on both of them, or maybe just this one at first. I'll rotate it out a bit, and I'm just going to have it lying down the side here. That shouldn't really be going inside him, so you should probably tweak that. Then this one here, I'll do the same. I'll just have it laying beside him. So something like that. That could be a sort of headshot animation. So where possibly if we press play, he just gets hit and falls down. Just for the sake of it though, I'm going to add a second one. This might be for a body shot, or just one when he's running forwards and he falls forwards this time instead of backwards. So it's going to start at 385. So we might need to copy from 330, and so select all our bones by pressing A, and then in this window A to deselect, and then press Ctrl K to select the one line, and then we're going to press Shift D and GX60, and then press enter. He's back to the start like so, and as you can see, 390, I guess it doesn't really matter, it can be moved up a little bit more. Otherwise you can move it down another 5 frames, so it's 385. And basically what we want here is, he could have been shot in the stomach or something, so possibly we can have him falling forwards. So I'm going to go to frame 400. Rotate him forward like so. Again, these arms are being a pain, so you have to select them as well. Rotate them forward. And move him like that. His head obviously would be facing downwards, like so. And we'll go to 410, and we'll do that again. Select his arms and his head as well, I guess. And we might need to select his hands at the same time. Numpad 3, and then we'll just rotate him again, so he's properly fallen down like that. We'll move his hands down, both of them, if we can, so they're a bit normal. Move his arms where they're meant to be, like that. Check at 400, yeah, that's fine. So 410, now he probably should have fallen down a fair bit, so we'll select all of his top half, move it down a bit, like so. Again, move his hands, something like so. And his head could be leaning down a bit more as well. Also, this leg here, we'll have to move, and we'll move them back up to ground level. Also, he could be falling though, so we're going to have to move them anyway. As he moves down though, so from 400, they should be at the same spot. So maybe something like that. And then at 410, you probably should have moved down a fair bit. And we'll move them somewhere around there. Move these ones down, sort of back where they started, so here. So now we just sort of have him ducking down, and then 420, we want him even further down, so just select his whole top half, like so. G to move, and then R to rotate. And yeah, we just want him getting fairly close to falling down now. So we'll select both his hands, if we can, and move them down like so. Select the top arms, move them up here. Then we'll select his legs and move them where they're meant to be, like so. Hopefully the rig you have doesn't make you do this, because yeah, can be quite painful to work around. But yeah, something like that should be working fine. And yeah, I think something like that should be good. And then on the maybe 430, maybe we'll give it 20 frames. And this time we'll just have him completely falling down the ground, so we don't have to do him bit by bit. So we'll select his whole top body and then move it down, rotate it so he's completely lying on the ground, like so. Move his head down. And this auto IK, if you haven't done it properly, can get sort of annoying, but I guess that's just how we'll have to deal with it. Then his arms go where they used to be, his hands go by his sides, like so. Maybe move them out a bit, like that. Numpad 3, make sure they are actually lined up on the ground, and they're not just floating through the ground, as the ground level is here. So I mean, a little bit through the ground's okay, but like huge amounts, which make it obvious, you want to avoid if you can. So something like that. Then his legs, we're going to have to rotate around, move them where they need to be, and we'll just do something like that. And then again, we'll move both his feet, so somewhere around there. Also, if you want to, I guess you can rotate out the side, if that is going to help. So now, you got here, I'll press numpad 3 and play the animation, and he just ducks up and falls down like so. This is a bit of a, I'm not quite sure how to say it, but it does look like he's jumping. So I guess we'll go halfway, 430, and make sure everything's realigned how it's meant to be. So it'll be him just falling from here like before. So maybe something like that. Oh. And maybe we might even 420, the frame seems to have sort of lost it, so we'll move it back down there. Floor level 425, that's just way off. That needs to be back up here still. Maybe something like that. 430. That's okay, but that still should be on the floor level. And 440 might be good. So there we go. We have him falling over like so. So there is our falling over animation. So there's our forwards, and then we have our backwards as well. So there we go. There is all the main animations done. So I can put a big X next to the falling over. So there we go, there are all the main animations done for the enemy so far. Hopefully now, if you've been hanging around this long, you have a nice animated enemy. If you don't, there will be a link in the description to the finished blend. This episode was really just to get all the main animations done and out of the way so we can get properly into the logic bricks and the states and all the cool AI stuff. But either way, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you did, be sure to leave a like, a comment, a share. If you do, all that stuff is greatly appreciated. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you guys in the next one.